Okay, Rabbi say, I apologize for the late start. We are holding on Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph, and we're holding the top line on Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph. Now remember, we were talking about a case where Chatzkel is a possible Mitzayra, maybe not. If he is a Mitzayra, so he does his bird offerings and his first body shaving, then he waits 7 days, does his second body shaving, goes to the mikveh. On the 8th day, he has to bring, amongst other things, an oshim and a loig shel shemen. So he said the oshim he brings, if he's a Mitzayra, it's an oshim. If it's not, he brings it as a shlamim. But the problem is, the loig shel shemen, what does he do? So the Gemara says he brings it conditionally. If he's a Mitzayra, so then he sprays it 7 times towards the oil mayid, and he puts it on his, and they put it on his right lobe and right thumb and toe. If he's not a Mitzayra, so then the loig shel shemen becomes a loig nedava, where he offers a loig of oil. So the Gemara says, but if it's a loig of a nedava, you have to take a kmitza. So the Gemara says, so we take a kmitza. So the Gemara says, but then you have to be makter it. So the Gemara says, so we're makter it. So now you have to, in order to do it 7 times, you have to fill it back up. But once you fill it back up, if it's a nedava, then that part that you filled back up, you didn't take a kmitza from. So the Gemara asks, Va'ika shirayim, what's left over that you have to refill in order to do the mitzvah rituals of 7 times, the bay melinu, you have to fill it. And in the event that it's a nedava, then v'ika hach persa, there's that part, the loikamet silvei, that you didn't take a kmitza from. Says the Gemara, the poriklei. No, that extra amount, after you do the sprinkling towards the oil mayed, that extra amount you redeem. Says the Gemara, redeeming it will make it chulin. And chulin can't be in the azara. So the parak lehecha, where are you going to redeem it? Igavai, if you redeem it inside the azara, kama ayil chulin azara, you're not allowed to bring chulin into the azara. And iavrai, if you bring it outside, remember this is a nedava, bringing it outside will passel it b'yotzei. Iavrai, if salei b'yotzei. Says the Gemara, la'olam gavai, you redeem it inside. But you're not going to get the aveira of bringing chulin into the azara, because the chulin memela avyin. It just becomes chulin. You didn't bring it inside. You redeemed it because there's a part of it that you didn't take a kmitza from, but you didn't bring chulin. There's a problem of bringing it inside. Here you didn't bring it inside, so it just came to be inside. That's not an issa of bringing chulin into the azara. But wait a second. You say this is all predicated on the fact that you're saying that on the tzad that he's not a mitzayra, then this is a nedava of oil. But Reb Shimon says there's no such thing as a nedava of oil. Says the Gemara v'amar Reb Shimon ein misnadvin shemen. There's no such thing as a donation of oil. Says the Gemara, yeah, he agrees that you could do it in order that Chatzkel shouldn't stuck being a Mitzayra for the rest of his life. Tikkun gavrei shani. In order to fix the person, since this is the only way you do it, we allow you to do it. With his hand.
I mean, it's oil.
It's thick, but you could still take it with your hand. You could cup it and take it with your hand. It's not so easy, but you could do it. says, how do you pronounce that word? Viscous liquid?
Viscosity, viscous.
Viscous liquid. Viscous liquid. It's a viscous liquid.
It's not a solid, it's liquid. I mean,
Okay, well, you'll practice and you'll see that you could do it. Yeah. Now,
more syrupy.
I think viscous is the correct word.
Yeah, viscosity.
Correct to me, we use it all the time.
Yeah. No, by you it's vicious. You're mixing up.
We stick around the call it viscous, yes, but it's viscous.
So now, Yosef Rav Rechumi Kami de Ravina. Rav Rechumi was sitting in front of Ravina. The Yosef V'Kama Mishmei de Rav Huna Bar Tachlifa. Remember we said the Asham that Chatzkel brings, and if he's a Mitzayra, then it's a Asham Mitzayra, and if he's not a Mitzayra, we say it's a Shlomen. And that causes a problem, because we then have to shorten, if it is a Shlomen, we shorten its lifespan from 2 days and 1 night to 1 day and 1 night. Says the Gemara, there's another Eitzah. Say that it's an Asham if he's a Mitzayra. If he's not a Mitzayra, say that it's an Asham Tali. Because there's a Shita in Shas that a person could bring an Asham Tali every day, because he's never sure if he sinned or not. So therefore asks the Gemara, V'neima Asham Zeh, if he's not a Mitzayra, Yehei Asham Tali. It should be an Asham Tali. So Shema Mina Man Tana de Poligalei de Rebbe Lazar, who argues on Rebbe Lazar. Reb Shimoni, it's Reb Shimon, the Amar Ein Misnada of Asham Tali. You just can't bring an Asham Tali every day. The only time you could bring an Asham Tali is if you had 2 pieces of meat in front of you. One was, Satmar meat, and one was Chaylev, and you ate one, and you're not sure which one. Only then you could bring an Asham Tali. So the Gemara responds, I can't believe that you had a Havamim that you could say it's an Asham Tali. It's a very big problem. An Asham Mitzayra is a yearling, and an Asham Tali is a ram. One is a sheep and one is a ram. How could you say that? It says, well, I'm like, Tyra, where's your Tyra? Imre b'dichrei michlefilach. You're mixing up a lamb with a ram. You can't do that. An Asham Mitzayra has to be a yearling. An Asham Tali has to be 2 years old. You can't use the same. It's 2 different animals. You can't say let it be this or let it be that. It's 2 different karbanas. Try to pull that under the nose of Rebellia. Rebellia would have caught that in a second. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, Evrei chatas shenis arvu be'evrei ayla. This is another problem. If limbs of a chatas get mixed up with limbs of an ayla, now this is a problem. An ayla has to go entirely on the mizbech, but the meat of a chatas doesn't go on the mizbech. And not only doesn't go on the mizbech, because since you put already the kidneys of the chatas and the diaphragm and the fats, so we have the rule, kol shemimenu le'ishin, once part of it is consigned to the fire, harihu about taktira, the rest you can't offer on the mizbech. So what are you going to do over here? So says Rebbe Eliezer uses our wood eitzah. Rebbe Eliezer, Aimer yitain lamala, you put it all on the mizbech. What about the meat of the chatas? V'roya anias basar chatas milmala, and I view the meat Ke'ilu ein eitzim, that it's like fuel, because we said l'reach nichayak, you're not allowed to put it on the mizbeach, but as fuel you're allowed to put it on the mizbeach. The Chacham don't allow this. The Chacham say no. They learn from a pasuk that you can't put it on if kol shemimenu le'ishim, if you already consigned part of it from the fire, hariyu b'bal taktiru. So they say Chacham aimim tu'uber tzurasan, all these pieces you have to leave overnight until their form changes, because you left them out so long and they become nicer, and then you burn it. You take it out to be burnt. So the Gemara says, my time of the Rebbe Eliezer. What's the reason of Rebbe Eliezer? Why does Rebbe Eliezer allow us to do this, to put on the meat of the chatas and view it as fuel? Amakra, it says about honey and yeast or sourdough. Amakrove ela mizbeach lo yalu l'reach nichayach. It should not go on the mizbeach for a sweet smell. L'reach nichayach yatamala. It can't go on for a pleasant aroma. Avalatamala l'shem eitzim. But you could put it on for fuel. Now, why don't the Chachamim hold of that? The Rabbanan miat rachmana oisam. We only have this allowance. We only have this latitude only by honey and sa'ar. Oisam hu diyatamala avalatamala l'shem eitzim. Only by honey and sa'ar could you put for fuel. Aval midei achrin oloi, but something else you're not allowed to put on even for fuel. And therefore, since you can't put on the meat of the chattis and it's mixed up with the other pieces of the oila, you have to let it all become nicer and burn it. Rebbe Eliezer, what does he do with the word oisam? Rebbe Eliezer, oisam hu de rabbi la kevesh kamizbeach. It is only for honey and sa'ar that we say that the ramp is forbidden like the mizbeach itself. But anything else, like for example, the leftovers of sacrifice, the ramp is not forbidden. The Rabbanan learned both from Osam. He learns out both drushes. The Gemara says this that we're saying that the machlokes of Rebbe Eliezer and the Chachamim apply to pieces of a chattis and pieces of an oila, masnisan the loiki haitana. Our Mishnah is not like the following Tana. The Tanya, Rebbe Yehuda, lo nechlaku Rebbe Eliezer v'chachamim al evrei chattis shenisarva be'evrei oila. They're not arguing where pieces of a chattis get mixed up with pieces of an oila. Sheyikruvu. They agree that it could be offered, and the meat of the chattis is viewed like fuel, like eitzim. B'roiveav and nirba, if it's an animal that was in passive bestiality, active bestiality, or passive bestiality that gets mixed up with another carbon, everybody agrees shelo yikruvu, that it can't be offered up. Alma nechlaku, what did Rebbe Eliezer and the Chacham argue about? Al evrei oila tamima shenisarvu be'evrei balasmum. Oh, if the limbs of an oila that was a tamim, unblemished, gets mixed up with the limbs of an oila that's a balmum, there Rebbe Eliezer yikruvu, you could offer it up, and the balmum ones, we view them as their fuel. V'rayani lamala, and I say that the pieces of the balmum are ki'ilu hein eitzim. The Chacham say in that case, lo yikruvu, you have to let them left over to ubatzirasan until they become nicer, and you burn them. So the Gemara says, Rebbe Eliezer, Maishno roiveya v'nirba, that he agrees that it can't go on the altar. The loichazu, balas mum nami loichazu, blemished oila is also not fit. So why does he ban from going on the mizbeach the roiveya and the nirva, and he allows the balmum? So says the Gemara, Rav Huna says, you know what kind of balmum he allows to go on? A non-discernible balmum. B'doikin sheba'ayin. It's talking about where it's a cataract in the eye. A cataract in the eye, since it's not noticeable, v'alibid Rabbi Kiva, going according to Rabbi Kiva, the Amar im alu lo yodu, that if it goes on the mizbeach, you don't take it down. So there, Rebbe Eliezer says that although roveya v'nirva you can't put on as fuel, but in a balmum that's a indoikin sheba'ayin you could. Says the Gemara, Eimadama Rabbi Kiva, that's after the fact. Im alu lo yardu. Eimadama Rabbi Kiva, the of it, if you did it already. L'chatchila miyama, does he say that l'chatchila you could put it on where they get mixed up? So says the Gemara, Amar Rav Papa Hacha b'may askinan kigain she'alu al gabe kevesh, where it was already arranged on the ramp. And once it's arranged on the ramp, so we allow it to go onto the Mizbeach. Says the Gemara, if it was already on the ramp, then why do you say where it gets mixed up? Even if it was in just a piece of balmum, you should be able to put it on. It wouldn't have to be in the case where it got mixed up. Rather, here's the reason why Rebbe Eliezer says that if a tomim gets mixed up with a balmum, you could put it on the mizbeach. But if a kosher animal gets mixed up with a vey of a nirva, you can't put it on the mizbeach. And here's what the score is. Elatayma de Rebbe Eliezer miyat rachmana mumbam. Now the pasuk says mumbam if there is a blemish in it. I know it's clearly you have in front of you an animal that's a blemish in it. You can't put it on the mizbeach. Hudolo yeratzu. Ha al yedei tayruvais, but if it gets mixed up, yeratzu. So, but he only has that drasha by mum. He doesn't have that drasha by roivei of a nirva. Says the Gemara of Rabbanan. What did Rabbanan do with the words mumbam? Rabbanan mumbam hudolo yeratzu. It's only if the mum is still there. Other mum, but if the mum passes, yeratzu. Rebbe Eliezer, how does he know that a passing mum is okay? Because it says bum and it says also bahem. So we dash in bum and bahem. Rabbanan bum bahem loy dash. Rabbanan don't dash in bum and bahem. Says the Gemara, but we got a problem then. If you're telling me there are a reason why Rebbe Eliezer says if it gets mixed up, it's allowed to go on, is because the Torah says the only time a mum can't go on the mizbeach is if it's not mixed up, but if it's mixed up, so it's not mum bum, it's mixed up, it could be put on, then you don't have to say we view it like wood. Ihachi raya? Why do I have to say we view it like wood? Harachbana achsherei. The Torah permits it because it says only if it's a clear mum and not if it's mixed up. Says the Gemara, you're right. Rebbe Eliezer was saying, he's playing devil's advocate. L'divreihem karma. He's saying according to Rabbanan. L'didi, according to me, rachmana achshrei. The Torah says it's okay because it says only if it's mum bum, only if it's straight mum, not if it's mixed up. L'divrayim, but according to you, that you don't dash in mumbam, but at least idly mia that kosher that basa balas mum you could put on the mizbeach ke'etzim dami, you could put it on like fuel. Midei dahavi abasar chatas, it should be like a basar chatas that gets mixed up with a basar oila that everybody agrees according to Rabbi Yehuda that you could put it on as fuel. Rabbanan, and Rabban say there's a difference between B'sar Chatas and Balmum. Hacham Isay. This is repulsive because it's a Balmum, so you can't put it on. You can't view it like fuel. Hasam, a piece of Chatas, Loi Isay, is not repulsive. Now the next Mishnah, I'm going to have to slow down because Rebellia said that I can't finish until 9. Right, Rebellia? It would be proper for me. We don't have 36, but we have 32, which is pretty nice. On a very cold night, Dr. Guy, it's good to have you. Yaakov Warman, Aaron Swade, it is superb to have you, and you should feel good. Saba, Irving Fishbaum, Dr. Block, Rabbi Kranz, Mo Kushner, Ben Zion Cohn, Shalom Fogel, Eddie Chazan. It doesn't look like he's in Oklahoma anymore. You are? You're still in Oklahoma? Wow.
Till tomorrow, then I'm heading down to Texas.
I can't believe you're still in Oklahoma. They didn't chase you out of town yet? Wow, unbelievable.
I'm held up in my buddy's house.
Yeah, I saw your buddy was...
In the hotel room?
I saw your buddy was enjoying you.
Those steers in the hotel room?
What stairs? What stairs? That's a cell. Marshall Castle and Shimon Klein, Barry Cement, Yitzi Muller, Mark Frankel, Baruchian, Yisrael Fisher, Dr. Udell, Yitzi Fuchs, Michal, Moshe Lehman, Stephen Holtzman, Chaim Braun, Daniel Rosenberg, Yeshua Shmuel Eisberg, Avram Rezepkowitz, Nachman Chapler, Richard Rosenzweig, Naftali Jablin, Ilya Shutman here in the shul. Oh, it's great. You know something? I'm complaining. 9 people is Olam Haba. We have Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram, Menachem Umansky, and Danny Vogel. It's good to have you back. You were very very missed. Yehuda Solomon, Ruven Shanet, and Rebellia Yafi. So Zok the Heilige Mishnah. Eivarim beivarim bali mumen. If you have, let's say, a head of a blemished animal that got mixed up with 100 heads of a kosher animals. So eivarim beivarim bali mumen. Rebbe Eliezer Amar im korav roish echad. If they didn't know, and one kohen was, a marshal type guy, and he offered one on the Mizbeach. So says Rebbe Eliezer, great news, you could offer the rest of them on, because midaraisa, it's batal b'ray. Midrabara, you could say, the one that marshal put on, that was the one that was the Balmum. So Rebbe Eliezer says, Im kar roish echad mehem yikru kol haroishim. You could offer all the roishim. Kroim shel echad mehem. If you offered one set of feet, yikru kol hakroim. You could offer all the rest of the feet, because we say that the first set of feet that he did, that was the Balmum. The Chacham say, what are you talking about? Just the opposite. Chacham say, even if you did all of them and you have just left one, even if you did all of them except for one, you have to worry that one is the one from the Balmum and Yotzel the Beis HaSreif. Now this reminds me of a fascinating difference of opinion between the Minchas Elazar, the Frierdiker Munkacher Rebbe, and Rav Steinman. The Minchas Elazar says those people that wear Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, one time in their life, they're going to inadvertently make a bracha on the Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. One time it's going to happen. So they'll have made a bracha on the Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. Says Rav Steinman, that's enough of a reason why I shouldn't wear Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. That one time I might make a bracha levatala. So here we have, Rabbi Eliezer says, you offered one head, you could offer the rest of them. And the Rabban say, what are you talking about? If you even have one head left, you have to be afraid that head is the one from the Balmum, and it has to go to the Beis HaSreif. The Gemara adds a caveat now. The Gemara says, when Rabbi Eliezer says, if you offer one, you could say that was the Balmum, and you could offer all the other ones. He said that's only if you offer them 2 at a time. Because when you offer 2 at a time, at least one is good. And we'll say,
For sure.
Right, because there was only one Balmum mixed in.
Okay.
So you offer 2 at a time, at least one is good. And we say, Migu, that one is good, the other one is good. But you can't offer them 1 at a time, because that one might be the Balmum. So let's see the Gemara inside. I'm Rabbi Eliezer. I'm a Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says, Lo yichsher Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer only allows you to do it, except if you do it ela shnayim, 2 at a time. So when you do 2 at a time, one of them is good. So one of them is good. We say, Mika, one of them is good, the other one is good too. Aval echad loy, but 1 at a time not. So the Gemara says it's not mashma that way from the end of the Mishnah. Even if you offered all the heads except for one, Yatzel Beis HaSreifa, which implies, but according to Rabbi Eliezer, if you have one left, you could offer it. But we said that Rabbi Eliezer doesn't allow it with one. It's only if it's two. Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa Asberlach. Let me explain to you. My echad, when it says one, it means zug echad. It means a pair. It doesn't mean one. It means a pair. All right, Rabbi, I told Rebellion 9 o'clock, and I rushed too fast because he got me nervous. Sometimes my Talmidim get me very, very nervous. We want to remind you that we again tomorrow at 8 o'clock we did the Mishnah Yomis already, and also we're making all kinds of efforts to get more people to join us in the shir. If anybody has an email of someone who they think should be sent a personal invite to the shir, Gedalia Engel is working on sending out notes to people to invite them to the shir. So my email, rmmwsi@aol.com. If you want to send me some emails of people that you want a personal invite to be sent to, please send it to me and we'll make sure that happens. Thank you very much for joining us and have a wonderful evening.